Hello, 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 and welcome. Darlene A Anderson here, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, personal development coach, author, and to many of you, your self-direction broker in the state of New York under the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. Welcome. If you are new to the page, I appreciate your viewership. If you are returning, you are family. I super appreciate your viewership, and I hope that everyone will return ongoingly. I invite you to check out prior episodes specifically on self-direction. However, this page is not just dedicated to self-direction. If you want to learn more about self-direction, then please check out the first video, self-direction from a broker's perspective, and check out some of the links, and you can do your own exploration search accordingly. But I will tell you, we dive into self-direction a lot. I have been serving the self-direction population in New York for 10 and a half years. Yay! So there's a lot of things I've learned along the way. Now, my thoughts, my comments, my opinions, my approach is independent. It is not by the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. I do not serve as an advocate for them. I do not represent them. They are my own independent views. Please keep that in mind as you are exploring some of the material that we have on the page. And I invite you to follow up directly with the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities for more accurate information and processes. Okay. Having said that, I wanted to share something that I got from a conversation recently with a client that I thought might be helpful for some of you out here that are self-directing parents. You may be aunties, you may be siblings, or you may be a self-advocate and you might consider using this information as well. Now, it was very interesting how I came about this topic because I was talking to him, and I always have that extra ear, right? Who has that extra ear where we hear something, but we hear something else? I heard what you said, but this is what you meant, right? Who else does that out there? Or you see something, you're like, I see it, but I think it's this, right? You did that, but you really meant that, right? So when I was speaking to him, we were talking about, now this is a new client. So I was going over a few things with him. And if you've worked with me before, many of you, as I said, to many of you, I'm your self-direction broker. You will know that I will send you a dissertation or thesis, right? Depending on what it is. I might send a thesis if I feel like it's going to be a little too overwhelming. You might get 100 pages. I'm exaggerating, right? It's more like essay, right? But what I will do is give you information. I send very detailed emails. And from time to time, I will send audios as well. I cross-reference, give attachments, all of that stuff, because self-direction is what it's called, self-direction. Parents and self-advocates or advocates of participants are expected to do a lot in the collaboration with various entities. And those entities can be the fiscal intermediary, it can be the care manager, the broker, the community programs. A vast majority of providers embody that team. But ultimately, it is the designee or the self-advocate's responsibility to ensure that these things are met, right? That things are moving, that you're coming to meetings, that you're giving information. So I have this new parent, and I send him, it had to be around 5 or 6 emails. And I followed up a week later, like, all right, so are we going to go over everything? And he goes, Darlene, I'm digesting it bit by bit. He said, it's a lot, but I'm going through it. He said, this is like a job. And I was like, oh, what did he say? This is like a job? And I smiled and I said, I'm so grateful that you said that. That's probably the best thing that I've heard a parent say as it relates to their part in the process. Now, it doesn't take away from working with great parents and involved parents and parents that will do what they need to do. But giving it a title and saying that it's like a job, giving it a description, I was like, or an occupation, right, or whatever you want to say. I was like, yeah, it is like a job, because in that moment, I felt good as a partner knowing that he understood the severity. I was trying to find a word, and I didn't want to scare anyone who's thinking about self-directing and saying severity. There is kind of like a severity to it. It's a job. You have to show up. You have tasks. There are things that you are responsible for. You will be assigned different tasks that needs to be carried out. Again, whether you're a designee or a self-advocate. And the person that is going to be executing those things, they need to understand that it is a very serious matter. So having heard him say that, I was like, yes, I'm grateful to be a part of this team. And again, not to say that I'm not a team player and I don't have great teams that I'm a part of, but having someone like that understands that this is how I need to come in, it made me feel really good in that moment again as a partner. So I share that to say self-advocates, right? Participants that are doing this self-direction thing for themselves, parents that are advocating for their children or teenagers or young adults or adults, aunts, uncles, siblings. How seriously are you taking this? How seriously are you taking the responsibilities of self-direction? And if you have not started self-directing as of yet, then there are some things that you should explore before you consider moving forward. Because again, it is an activeness. Self-direction is ever moving. It's always requirements. It's constantly changing per the state and city regulations. You're constantly being asked for things. There are emails, there are phone calls, there are scheduling, there's documentation. There is a slew of actions that can happen between a day-to-day basis, a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, a 6 months, a year basis in order to self-direct. And it's not for everyone. Just like every job is not for everyone, self-direction isn't for everybody. And I think it's equally important to get the information about what you need as it is to understand the action steps that go along with it. Because parents will say, hey, I did X, Y, and Z. I got all the documents. I did the front door. I got psychosocial psych eval. I did all of this. I got a broker. I got a care manager. I'm ready to self-direct. Great. And then when they get into it, it's like, hey, I didn't know I had to respond to these emails. I didn't know I had to upload these documents because all I know how to do is log in and say, I got it, thank you so much. I didn't know that I had to upload documents and then I have to do insert, make sure they're uploaded and send. I didn't know that I had to accept the invitation to the meeting for my life plan review meeting for myself or for my child or for my nephew. I didn't know that I had to accept the invitation. Oh, we have a meeting today? I didn't know that because I didn't get your text because I don't read text like that and I don't know how to respond. Like, these are some of the things that will happen and what I've heard, and I'm sure you all can relate to some of these things where it's like, okay, once you're in, you literally now have to show up and you have to work. You literally have to now get in the game. Coach is calling you in. You have to play your part. And if that's not something that you're willing to do right now, then I would really consider other programs. Self-direction is just one service under the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. But if somebody wants community rehabilitation services, for example, you can have agency community rehabilitation services for yourself or for your loved one. If you need respite, you can have respite independent of self-direction. There are some programs that the care manager can help you to get reimbursements for independent, because people will say, hey, I love self-direction because I like the reimbursements. I want to be reimbursed. Self-direction is not the only program that does reimbursements. There are other programs as well that can reimburse you for various things. There are a lot of family support services that can do reimbursements as well. But if you plan on self-directing, then you have to be able to come to the table or get someone that's going to assist you with answering emails regularly, scheduling meetings regularly, making sure that documents are up to date. That is very important. And I'm going to speak about that in detail. But it is really important to ensure that you have yearly medicals, you have yearly psychosocials and psych evals. You have to schedule these things. You have to schedule these things for your child, for your loved ones, or for yourself. It's your responsibility to schedule. It's also your responsibility to ensure that your Medicaid is active or your loved one's Medicaid is active. All of these things require good time management, scheduling, sitting down, and it doesn't take away from what you've done already, because most of you are like, oh, I do that with my eyes closed because this is the life that I've done for my child that I've been doing since they were born. But then there are some of you that are just starting out for whatever reason, and these programs are new to you. And if they are, then you have to understand that there's a high level of requirements to make them work as a partner. Now, to that, Dad, I was pleasantly surprised that he was like, okay, I read this, I read that, what do you think? And then if you're not able to digest it and read it, or even if you don't understand it, you refer to your care manager, refer to a video. There are so many videos, but you could just put in, hey, I don't want to sit and watch all of this on self-direction, but let me watch a video and understand what it entails. And then when you hear that, okay, so it entails X, Y, and Z, it sounds like once that's done, I'm going to have to do this. There is no way that you're going to get away from like meetings and providing documents, all of that. You're going to do all of that stuff. But to get a better understanding, check out some videos, look at some audios, ask some questions so you can literally understand what you're getting into before you go further. And that's in anything that you do. I'll tell you, my mom, I shared with you all that in a prior video that I was a caregiver for my mom, and I helped a lot on a day-to-day as it related to her scheduling, her home care. She had home care. And there are two different types of home care, which you guys are quite aware of. Some of you may not be, but there are kind of two different types of home care. There's agency home care where they will send somebody to you. And then there's the home care where you pick your worker. That person can be a family member, a loved one, a neighbor, and they're assigned to your case. My mother had agency home care where different people were coming to the house. And I said, no. I want to play a role in this. I want to schedule. I want to be able to speak to the attendants. I want their numbers. They have to text me. It was a lot that I required. And what I found interesting was that some of them found it odd that I was asking for them to text me, for me to speak to them, new people, before they came to my mother's home. And I said, well, I don't understand why that would be something that they would find odd. And the reason why they found it odd, because it wasn't the norm. I don't know why. Because I'm a team player, or I was, because my mom wound up passing away in 2024. But I was a team player from my mom. I took my mom on as if she was my project. I became her mother because she had dementia. I became her mother and I became her advocate. And that meant that I had a list of all of her providers, her home attendants that were coming, their telephone numbers, their shifts. And if I needed to make changes, I didn't go to the agency. I called them directly. And that is a type of parents that I work to educate. I hope that they become the ones that take lead, take charge. I love a parent to take lead and take charge. I like when parents tell me, hey, we have a meeting coming up. I have it in my calendar. Or even, hey, did you put in your billing yet? Like, I have clients that will say, it's billing time. Did you do your billing yet? And I'm like, wow, okay, it's that time of the month. That is very, very important when you understand dates, times, your staff, different things. Like, these things are important as it relates to your services. The service is one thing. The execution of the service embodies a lot. So I wanted to come out and share this story with you all about my client and him saying that self-direction was like a job, right? because again, it is. But also to have you to just think a little bit more about, if you are not self-directing, is it something that you want to take on? If you are self-directing, are there some areas that you can tweak? And if you are the ultimate self-direction parent and you're doing all of this, then maybe you want to share it with someone that you think could benefit from this information. Sharing is definitely caring. But my ultimate goal is to ensure that we are all working from a position when we're advocating for others. Now, self-advocates are a little different because I have self-advocates that are amazing and they can do everything around the sun and back and then just be in a bed by like 8 o'clock, right? Then there are others that need a higher level of support. And then you have even parents that might be older parents that are unable to do all of the execution. And in those situations, we have to educate staff or family members to ensure that they're getting everything that they need. But ultimately, the goal is to ensure that everyone understands what it takes to self-direct and that they are maximizing services through great execution. They're great partners. They're managing good time management. They have their documentation in order, all of that stuff. They're renewing properly. They're doing annual follow-ups. All of that plays a part in services as well as funding. So we'll speak about how documentation affects funding. I do speak about it in a couple of prior videos, but I'm going to expand on it in a couple of videos in the future of how documentation supports funding within self-direction and other services within your community. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I ask that you like the video, you subscribe to the channel, and you share it with your networks, and I am looking forward to seeing you again. Until next time, I am Darlene A. Anderson, and this is Empowered Movement. Be well.